You a little short for a stormtrooper?
What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. We are recapping the week's nerdy news from Cord Industries to the USS Enterprise and everywhere in between. My name is Mike Gibson, one of your co-hosts, and with me as always is Steve Haller. What's up, Steve?
Well, another week and another good bit of news from the nerd industry.
That's right.
And also the debut of one Moon Knight from Marvel Cinematicness. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Which we shall be talking about at the end of this show in a new segment. All right, Moon Knight. So if you haven't seen Moon Knight, you can jump before we get to that segment of the show. We will let you know when we're about to dive into spoilers, of course. But speaking of Marvel, gonna kick things off similarly to how we kicked things off last week, and I guess just like confirm that Morbius is really bad, I guess. Almost universally negative reviews from Morbius, the Living Vampire, that has officially opened as of last Friday, April 1st. And I say almost universally negative because I saw two people on my timeline that liked it. And those two people are people that I trust. People, Koi Jandrew, another nerd, talker of nerd things, all knowing of nerdery. And Gail Simone.
Really?
So I was, yeah.
Huh.
And I mean, about it.
And that's like Gail Simone is someone who I explicitly trust her opinion on things. So that's okay.
Yeah. She said. I think she acknowledged it wasn't a perfect movie, and there's some stuff that didn't work. But overall, she thought it was good. She didn't think it was amazing. I don't think, but she liked it enough. And she also really likes the character of Michael Morbius, apparently, which I don't know a ton of people that do. So maybe if you are really into Michael Morbius, you're just thrilled that they're making a movie about him, so you're gonna like what you get. But I'm a big Green Lantern fan, and I was really excited to see a Green Lantern movie, and that didn't do it for me. So
no, when not even Ryan Reynolds can save your movie, you're not doing great.
Yeah. So I don't know. Have you heard anything explicitly? I have heard that despite everything, Matt Smith is very good in it. I've heard that.
Yep, that's about what I've heard. And that Leto isn't as bad as he could be, but it's not great still.
Yeah, I guess I haven't read too many detailed reviews. I've read some tweets, some short reviews about why this is bad, but
you didn't read any in-depth reviews about how horrible the movie is?
No, I didn't, because I'm probably still going to see it at some point.
Oh, absolutely.
I was really this close. And for those of you listening, I'm holding my thumb and my index finger very close together, but not quite touching them. I was this close to watching Venom Let There Be Carnage the other night, and I ended up not doing it. So
yeah, I mean, we did say this about Venom Let There Be Carnage, that we would be seeing it, and neither of us at this point have still seen it. How many months passed? So
yeah, you know what we should really do is that we should just watch it together and like just drink a lot of beers while we're doing it and record like a drunken commentary for Venom Let There Be Carnage.
Throw it out on the feed, see what happens.
Yeah,
hey, that works. No, we should. That's not a horrible idea. I think you might be onto something.
It's really not. There. I think that would get us some clicks. That might be good. But I'm surmising from what I've heard that it is more in the writing of the movie than it is the fault of any actors necessarily.
It seems like it's extremely disjointed and not cohesive in any semblance of putting together a movie or a script. It's just poorly done, which really, again, brings us back to what we talked about. Why in the hell would they push this off of January if it was still going to be this bad?
If it was so bad, I know. Maybe they just wanted to keep the good vibes of Spider-Man No Way Home.
Right.
Like let's focus on the good and let's move this so it doesn't tarnish what we have going, or it doesn't keep people from going to see Spider-Man No Way Home if they know that there's a Spider-Man tie-in. Maybe they knew. A big thing I've heard a number of times is that it's really like the world building or the universe building, and I don't know if that's the universe of this movie or the connections to other Sony properties. I've heard it's very poorly done and like incredibly ham-fisted, and nonsensical the way they've done it. I don't know. I don't know what specifically they're talking about or what choices they've made in that arena, but maybe they kind of saw that, and maybe there is a Spider-Man reference, or maybe there is some other stuff that they were like, this is just going to be too confusing after a multiverse movie that everybody loves. Maybe they just knew that it wouldn't play well so close to Spider-Man. I don't know.
Yeah, and apparently I have no idea what the end credits scene is, but everything that I've heard is that it is the worst thing ever. So yeah, I don't know how you can have a bad, or like, what constitutes the worst post-credit scene ever? That is the question.
I know. What could they have possibly done? And like that alone almost makes me want to go see it in the theater.
Right.
Like you just saying that and like really thinking about it, like, that's almost enticing enough for me to go see it.
Here's my $10. Enjoy.
Because what could it possibly be?
Well, apparently, whatever.
I don't know.
I can say on happier movie notes, I have confirmed that as of tomorrow, when tickets go on sale, I will be looking at dates for actually attending in a theater Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, they go on sale tomorrow, huh?
Yep. So I'm probably going to do the you thing where you rock the 9 a.m. showing. Just man. Less people is always better people. So yeah.
And I mean, I don't know, people listening to this or watching this maybe from other parts of the country or wherever, but in our specific county in New York State, our numbers are higher than almost anywhere else in the country right now, which is really wild to me that it's not even like we're not in New York City or LA or anything. It's insane to me. Yep. I don't know what's happening here, but I saw a 3-hour Batman movie. I wore a mask the entire time, and you can do it.
I mean, I go to work. Half of it is I'm now back in work a couple of days a week, so it's like I'm used to just sitting there with a mask on and good to go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exciting. Then they announced the runtime of that movie this week. Isn't it like it's a little over 2 hours?
Yeah,
I heard conflicting reports. First, I heard it was like 2 hours and 40 minutes or something insane, and then I saw another thing that it was like it's 2 hours and 8 minutes or something.
Yeah, I think I had heard the closer to 2 hours, but
yeah,
I'm
down for that.
At some point, Marvel has to stop making magnum opuses and just make movies again.
Yes.
Or I guess Marvel and DC, because like DC's last two offerings have been 4 hours and 3 hours, and Marvel's have been 3 and 3 and whatever.
Well, if it's not theatrical, I'll give you a break.
And they did break that up nicely with all the chapters.
Yeah, I mean, I'm tough on Zack Snyder normally, but I'll take a 4-hour anything if it's streaming and I can pause it anytime I want. Don't make me sit in a theater for 4 hours. But yeah, no, you're right. Not every movie should be an event movie. And Marvel, Marvel too. I'm trying to think, like Eternals was almost 3 hours.
Yeah.
Spider-Man was almost 3 hours. What's the other theatrical Marvel movie?
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi, that wasn't that long. I mean, it was over 2 hours.
It was over 2, but it wasn't quite the 3.
Yeah.
But you come out of Infinity War Endgame, and then like those are these magnum opuses, and then all you have like Black Widow, which ultimately ended up being a non-theatrical release, but like Black Widow and Shang-Chi, and then everything else is at 3 hours plus. It's like, or 3 hours approximately, and it's like, guys,
I know, man.
My bladder doesn't want to go to the theater for that long.
I know. Got to bring it back down. Bring it back down, please. Bring it back down so you can then bring it back up.
Right.
Scale it back up so we get excited again.
Maybe to a street level superhero that we could possibly wear a Beetle costume.
Oh wait, I was gonna ask you one more question about.
Oh, okay.
Morbius. do you, again, this is, I guess it's hard to talk about this because we haven't seen the movie. Do you think this, do you think Sony had like big plans for this franchise? Like, you got to think that they're building some kind of like, you have to think that they're going to try to put these villains together at some
Right.
point, right? Like Venom, then we've seen Venom, Morbius, and we've seen Vulture, Michael Keaton's Vulture, in the trailers for Morbius. So we know
Right.
he's connected to. You got to think that they're doing this because they're going to bring all these villains together. Do you think this changes the plan for Sony because this movie's just being so negatively reviewed?
Do I think so or do I hope so? Because those are two distinctly different things. I hope it changes
Yeah.
things. I mean, we're talking about, we have a Kraven the Hunter movie coming up with the
Yeah.
Chameleon confirmed as well, and like that. So that's, you know, what, 5 out of your Sinister Six or whatever if you're trying to do a team up movie. And in all of these movies, you're trying to paint them as anti-heroes, and like the Sinister Six, they're for one not anti-heroes, but
Yeah.
for two, like, does anyone care enough to go see a team up movie of
Yeah.
poorly set up superheroes? It in my brain, I drastically hope that Sony rethinks something. In reality, Sony is probably going to continue to make these and do whatever they can to maintain that Spider-Man tie-in and keep because for every one of these crap movies they put out, they can put out something that has Tom Holland in it and say, all right, give us your money, because people are going
Right.
to give them your money.
Yeah, so they, I mean, especially after No Way Home, they
Yeah.
can afford Morbius tanking.
Mhm.
But you know, you can't. You know, how long can they scrape by on using? How long can they? That method is not sustainable. I
Right.
think
I
they
mean,
have to
if you
start making good
yeah,
movies to make a universe that people are going to care about.
if you see that and then Craven tanks as well, then it's like, all right, where's this going?
Yeah. Or they could end up being, you know, if Craven's great and Madam Web is great and whatever else, Venom
Right.
3, you know, whatever else they're going to do is great, then they can just retroactively, you know, like the MCU did with their worst movie, and just make it a pivotal plot point somehow. Thor the Dark World
Yep.
is like, you know, they return to it and things, it's more crucial to watch it, even though it's terrible and hard to watch. They could just do that with Morbius, maybe. Like,
Yeah. No, it's weird to think
I don't
about,
know.
because it definitely it's something where Sony is going to Sony it, and
Yeah.
that usually means whatever they can do to stretch this out and hold on to Spidey. So
Yeah. Sucks to be Jared Leto. I think
he's not doing great on his track record of superhero
I
movies,
know.
is he?
I mean, when you sign on to be the Joker, one, you probably think your role in the movie is going to be a lot bigger than it ends up being.
Yeah.
And I know I stand by the fact, I think Jared Leto still has a good Joker in him. I think the Suicide Squad movie that he was in was poorly written and poorly conceived.
Yep.
And that is why his Joker was not great. I think that he could be a great Joker. I liked him more in Zack Snyder's Justice League, even though that scene didn't make a ton of sense. And isn't necessarily a movie I want to see, but I like his performance better in that movie. But
Yeah, that one felt a little better.
Yeah. And then now this, he's just got to be like, okay, I'm done with superhero movies. But is he? Because he might be under contract with both Warner Brothers and Sony for more sequels if they need him. So who knows?
Right. Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway, if anyone out there has seen Morbius or goes to see it, let us know what you thought of it. We'd love to hear about it, because we're probably not going to see it until it's rentable or piratable
Yeah.
or streamable in some way. But all right, moving from Marvel to DC. Some Steve was teasing earlier, got some more Blue Beetle casting news. This is kind of a big one. Sharon Stone has been cast as the villain in DC's Blue Beetle movie. Now, if that's not crazy enough, comic readers, check this out. She's playing a character named Victoria Kord, Kord. Now, you know the name Kord because it is the name of the second and most popular incarnation of the Blue Beetle, Ted Kord. It is highly believed that Sharon Stone is playing this is an original. Victoria Cord is an original character, and it's rumored that it is the wife of Ted Cord. Why Ted Kord's wife would be a villain against the following Blue Beetle, I don't know.
Right.
But you've got to think that it means. Does that mean that Ted Kord's going to be in this movie? I don't think we know that, and no one's been cast or rumored to be cast as Ted Cord. But I feel like if they're introducing Ted Cord, that's a big deal. It would make sense because in like the comics, Jaime and Ted know each other. They don't like really work together, but they're both Blue Beetle. I think Ted died for a while, and while Ted was dead, Jaime became the new Blue Beetle. But now Ted is back because comic books.
Yeah.
So they certainly have like
always.
Yeah. So they certainly have a relationship, but is this going to end up being like a master and apprentice style movie where he gets advice from the former Blue Beetle, or a message or some kind of insight about powers or tech or whatever? That would be cool. I'm a big fan of the Ted Kord character. But why would his wife be a bad guy? I don't know. That's interesting, and I'm sure we'll find out more. Sharon Stone, wonderful actress. Those of you who like to watch terrible movies will remember that this is not her first time playing a villain in a superhero film. Steve, have you ever seen Catwoman?
That I want to admit, or
I have seen it.
I have as well. It was not a good movie.
Man, it was not a good movie. I watched.
So is that?
Catwoman.
Wait, hold on. Is this episode just going to be us talking about horrible movies?
At least these first two topics, it looks like. I don't know.
Well, the next topic later. The next topic is hit or miss too. So
that's true. Yeah, not a movie though. Not
True.
a movie though. But ever heard the podcast? How does this get made? How did this get made?
Yep.
Yeah. They talk about they have watched a terrible movie and they talk about how bad it is. I watched Catwoman so I could listen to the How Did This Get Made episode about Catwoman. And it took me 2 nights to get through it. It was so bad. I just couldn't.
I watched it, I think, not knowing how bad it was going to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's like,
yeah.
That movie is like the epitome of, we don't know. It's like we're going to take a name and an idea of a character and slap a bunch of shit together and put it out as a movie and hope that people like it. Like, we're not going to invest in the character. We're not going to do our canonical research of what the character should be or how they should act. We're not going to explain any of these crazy things that are happening. Like, just very, very pre-MCU, very pre-anybody, very pre-Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy.
Yep. It was very much at the time, Halle Berry was kind of at the peak of Halle Berry-ness, and they're just going to market the hell out of that and hope that the movie sucks slightly less than it did.
Yeah, we're going to do things that we think look cool, but don't actually make any kind of sense in any kind of reality. And because it's a superhero movie, no one cares. It's comic books, so let's not treat it seriously, right? Like that kind of attitude, like like the Joel Schumacher Batman movie attitude.
Right.
Yeah, that movie sucks. So don't see Catwoman. I can't imagine. I mean, we don't know how Blue Beetle's going to be, but I will say this: it's going to be better than Catwoman. Guarantee you.
Setting that bar high, Mike. Setting that bar high.
100% guarantee you. I could also say that about many other movies, possibly also Morbius, the Living Vampire. I cannot imagine it's as bad as Catwoman, but we shall see someday.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's gonna be maybe that's the discussion when we finally see it. Was it better than Catwoman?
Maybe it's a special segment of some episode where we rank the 3 worst comic book movies that we've ever seen.
Ooh, intriguing.
Or think about them.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't love to spend a whole lot of time talking about things I don't like. I would prefer to talk about things that I do like, but I don't know.
Well, we're 20 minutes into it now, so.
That's a good point. It's a good point. This episode notwithstanding, this is just, the news. We're just talking about news. I mean, Catwoman's not the news, but we're talking about it anyway. But anyway, so she's the villain in Blue Beetle, and I think it's going to be interesting. I feel like we haven't seen too many big bad female characters in the modern superhero. I'm thinking of like Hela from Thor Ragnarok.
Yep.
The woman from Iron Man 3 whose name I don't remember, but she wasn't like the big bad.
Right.
It was Guy Pearce was the big bad guy.
Well, Ghost kind of
big...
from Batman and the Wasp ish.
Yeah, she's more like anti-hero though.
Right. Set up.
I don't love that movie. I guess that by the end of that movie, there's no villain at all.
No.
And I'm just like, what is happening? Why do I care about any of this? But yeah.
That's
I can't think of another one.
It? In the MCU, it's kind of late.
Certainly in the MCU. I'm trying even like DC stuff though. I can't think of another. Oh, this the Enchantress from your first Suicide Squad movie. I guess she's the big bad, but she's also terrible.
Technically, Amanda Waller in Peacemaker. Ultimately, but that's a deep cut.
Ultimately, that's like how you interpret
right
villains, I guess. Like, because yeah, of course she's a villain, but they're not the villain. She's not the villain they're trying to stop. They're trying to stop Starro the Conqueror. Oh man, I just love that Starro the Conqueror is in a movie. I just said that.
Do we know?
Maybe,
do we know that?
Happening.
Do we have any gender confirmation on Starro the Conqueror?
No, I don't think so.
Still up in the air. We're good.
But
we can chuck it up in the maybe column.
I'll take it. I'll take that as a reason for me to do research and watch the Suicide Squad again because I love that movie. So any reason I can take, any reason I can find to watch that again. So anyway, I mean, let us know if we're not thinking of a major big bad female villain in a superhero movie, modern superhero movie, I should say. Not let's say post Catwoman female villain. Let us know if we're not thinking of one. And Blue Beetle will hit theaters because it was upgraded from a streaming release to a theatrical release on August 18th, 2023. Real quick, speaking of HBO or DC original movies, Batgirl wrapped its filming this week. They announced that. And I can't imagine that it's not going to get delayed. Did we talk about this already when The Flash got moved
to
next year?
Oh, yeah, maybe.
I think we did. And I feel like we don't know when Batgirl's coming out. We assumed it was going to be this year. But considering all the Batman Flashpoint stuff, the Keaton coming back, and Ben Affleck's final performance in The Flash, I feel, and knowing Keaton is in Batgirl, I feel like it's going to get pushed until after The Flash comes out because I feel like it's not going to make sense. Which is a huge bummer because I'm dying to see a Batgirl movie in it. I feel like they need whatever the Flash is going to do to replace, erase, delete, reformat the DC universe to be Michael Keaton Batman instead of Ben Affleck Batman. I mean, that's what we're assuming is going to happen. I feel like that's going to happen before we see Michael Keaton Batman in Batgirl, or we won't understand where he came from, right?
You would think so.
You're thinking? I mean, I don't know. That's all speculation, so I could be wrong on that. But it feels like, despite it wrapping filming, I feel like it's going to get delayed.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's one of those where if it stays on HBO Max too, then they may play it a little more fast and loose. Whereas if it's going theatrical, they would definitely have to have it after. You would think they would definitely want it after Flash.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll be talking about The Flash a little bit later when we get to one-shots, but maybe not in the way you're expecting.
No.
But anyway, moving from DC into a realm of swords and sandals, talking about Game of Thrones-ish, kind of. HBO Max has announced a release date and a character listing for the Game of Thrones spin-off House of the Dragon. House of the Dragon will debut on Sunday, August 21st on HBO and HBO Max. It will run for 10 episodes. Right now, they're calling it a 10-episode miniseries. They're not calling it season 1. They're calling it a miniseries, but I guarantee you they're going to greenlight another season if this season does well. They really announced that with a cool poster with like a dragon egg and a giant dragon face, like kind of behind the egg with the numbers 821 on there. They also released the character list. The character list was very long, included lots of Targaryens and Valerians and Lannisters and high somethings. Lots of different characters. Too many to list here. So I guess my general question, and I know this is something we've talked about before, how much do we care about this show? I feel like I personally don't feel a lot of hype for it, and I don't see a lot of hype for it in the social circles that I either, whether that's social media or, friends that are into this kind of stuff. I don't feel a lot of excitement for it. And I think that has a lot to do with how the end of Game of Thrones, the series, was handled. But how do you feel about this?
Well, as one of those friends that is tied into this and was heavily invested in Game of Thrones,
yeah,
I'm right there with you. It seems like they missed the boat. I know we've talked about that before, where it was like a little too late. Like, start these filming and have them running as soon as the series goes off the air.
I know. I have said this before. It is insane to me that they didn't greenlight a Game of Thrones spinoff while Game of Thrones was still on the air. You get this show up and running while the last season of Game of Thrones is still on. Have 2 on the air for that last season, and like ease people out of Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
they're less particular about how that train wreck ends. And then because they're already on this other good show that apparently that hopefully would have been good, but crazy to me that they waited so long to even greenlight something. They waited until the series was over. That must have been contractual at somebody's point that you can't do a spinoff before we're done. It must have been, because it makes no sense that they waited this long.
Apparently, I didn't realize that Matt Smith is like the actor this year. Like, this is the year of the Matt Smith.
And you would have thought that he had his year when he was Doctor Who,
right?
And also in like Terminator and shit. But now he's coming back. He's making himself known.
So he is Daemon Targaryen, who I believe the series will focus around. I don't know which Daemon Targaryen this is. There's like 5 of them. So yeah,
that makes sense.
Fun times. I haven't done enough research into this to know exactly when and where in the histories it fits. So
I believe that he is a main character. I think Matt Smith is going to be like running the show, more or less. I mean he's listed second on the character listing,
right?
That they released. So
yeah, brother to the king. Like he's doing okay.
Yeah, he's going to be in it. So yeah, House of the Dragon, August 21st, 10 episodes. I'm sure we'll probably talk about it if we like it. Maybe we'll talk about the first episode and see.
Right. If it falls flat on its face, it falls flat on its face. But yeah,
I feel like you and I, there's going to be times when we have to like decide what we're talking about and what we're not talking about, because for a while we're doing Boba Fett and Peacemaker at the same time. It was like, this is kind of a lot. And I know that there's going to be times when there's 2 to 3 to 4 to a million shows we feel like we should be talking about on at the same time. And we certainly couldn't keep up with all that. So
and the dumb thing, like thinking about that Peacemaker and Boba Fett overlap, being the giant Star Wars nerd I am, I still would have taken Peacemaker. That was just show was the apex of television I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, best superhero. One of the best shows I've seen in a long time. Definitely best superhero show I've seen in quite a long time.
Yeah.
Quite a long time.
Absolutely.
So okay. Anyway, we just can't stop talking about superheroes apparently. Even if we're talking about Game of Thrones. But moving from Game of Thrones, goodbye Westeros. Hello. Cannot think of one Star Trek reference right now. I'm completely blanking.
The Enterprise?
I was trying to go without the Enterprise. I was trying to think of a location. Vulcan. There you go. Hello, Planet Vulcan. Starfleet Academy. Planet Vulcan.
Earth.
Literally the only Earth. Yeah.
Welcome back to Earth, folks.
Welcome back to Earth. We got a new trailer for Star Trek Strange New Worlds. This is the This is a brand new show on the Paramount Plus network that will be streaming May 5th. This is in addition to Star Trek Picard and Star Trek Lower Decks. They have a number of live action and animated shows currently going on Paramount Plus. This is a brand new one that features Captain Pike, the captain of the USS Enterprise, before Captain Kirk takes it over. So, and we have previously reported that a young Captain Kirk will debut on this show.
So not William Shatner.
So not William Shatner and not Chris Pine.
True.
So we have Captain Pike, and we have some familiar faces. There is someone playing Spock. There's someone playing Uhura, and it looks really good.
Right, and Rebecca Romaine playing someone.
Oh yeah, Rebecca Romaine is in it.
Seems like a main character. And for the record, this dropped today, so we looked at this right before the show. So if we sound disjointed, that would be why.
Yeah, I mean, and admittedly, neither of us are huge Trekkies.
Very true.
We have invested in Star Trek, but we're not like crazy about the franchise in general. Not that it's bad. It's just there's a lot of stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we respect the hell out of it, which is why we're talking about it. But I gotta say, this looks great. I haven't watched Picard. I haven't watched the other Star Trek stuff. They're doing Discovery. That's the other one.
Mm-hmm.
But it looked really good. It definitely felt like Star Trek to me from my limited knowledge of it. It's cool to see giving like Spock a romance storyline. I didn't expect that. I wasn't even sure that was Spock because of the romance storyline in the trailer. I was like, what? But yeah, the effects look super cool. The locations look great. Makeup looks really great on everybody. I like Captain Pike was kind of like Kirkish a little bit, and I don't know, maybe that's like how Kirk kind of learns the ropes or whatever. But like,
he was definitely very Pine Kirkish.
Yes, yeah, the attitude, the jokes he's making, like, kind of reminded me of Chris Pine's Captain Kirk a little bit, and maybe that's what they're going for because that was a popular iteration of the character. So, but yeah, May 5th, new Star Trek show, Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, and I know I've said this before, but it may be flying under the radar because there's no theatrical movies right now, and you know everything that is happening with Star Trek is on this like streaming service that I have had Paramount Plus. I don't currently. I usually I fire it up when there's something on there that I want to watch, and then I cancel it. But if you have Paramount Plus, it is a great time to be a Star Trek fan right now.
Very much so.
Because they're doing so much content. It's just, I feel like it's just so under the radar because it is siloed and is only available on this one streaming service, which isn't quite what Netflix or Disney Plus or HBO Max is to a lot of people. But if you are into Star Trek, you got to be just living your best life right now. Like, how long did we go with either like no Star Trek series on the air and an occasional film? Like that was like a long time after, I don't know. I'm happy for all Star Trek fans that are out there because you have all of a sudden you went from very little content to a ton of it and you're just getting more. They just keep announcing more and more stuff. Like I think Paramount, I mean, I've read some stuff in the past about Paramount as a studio, like not doing as great. They don't really have a ton of like franchise stuff up and running.
So they're leaning into what they have.
But they are clearly leaning into the Star Trek stuff for the streaming service, and it seems to be working out very well for them.
I can say too, the Halo show debuted as well.
That's right. That's right.
I keep a Paramount Plus subscription through most of the year because of soccer stuff, actually.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So I ended up checking out the first episode of that Halo series, and it was actually it didn't wow me. It didn't like knock my socks off of like, this is an absolute need to see. Yeah. But I'm probably going to follow it. Like the portrayal of Master Chief was awesome. I don't know anything about the lore, but it put you in a spot where it felt like you were in the worlds. So I probably will at least check out the second episode. So
I read that people were mad that he took his helmet off in the first episode.
Whatever.
But like, I don't know. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Not everything can be Mandalorian.
What? Yeah, everything needs to be a helmeted person that has a person they're protecting that they can't take their helmet off, and it's just going to be
But like,
Mando season 2.
but I guess they probably could have written it in a way where he kept his helmet on most of the time. I mean, for those of you who don't know, I guess in the game he never Master Chief you never see him without his helmet on. So you don't know, and I guess that like kind of lends to the appeal of the game, because since you don't know what the character looks like, you're putting yourself in the shoes of the character, in the helmet of the character. Literally, could be anybody. And I think people were mad that it was just immediately like, nope, he looks like this, like in the first episode.
Well, and I mean, you get Pablo Schreiber to play him, you're gonna show his face, just like eventually you get Pedro Pascal to play the Mandalorian, you're gonna show his face.
But eventually, that's the difference.
Right.
Eventually,
it's true.
I think now that I'm thinking about it, it seems like that maybe because the Mandalorian exists and did that so well, that's probably why Halo fans are like, well, they did it on Mandalorian. Why couldn't you do it over here for us?
Yeah.
Like, we care about the helmet. And like Star Wars fans, we didn't even expect the helmet to not come off. We saw Clone Wars and we're like, yeah, they take their helmets off all the time. So we didn't even think that was going to be a thing.
Crazy.
But anyway. Halo.
One thing I somehow slipped in my brain, Pablo Schreiber, so that family, like Liev, Pablo, there's like 5
they're
brothers.
Related?
Yeah, there's 5 brothers.
I did not know that.
I don't know if they're brothers or half brothers or whatever, but I know there's like a bunch of them that are actors of various sorts, but I did not realize that Pablo was porn stash on Orange is the New Black.
No way.
Yeah.
And now he's Master Chief.
Yeah. Yeah, he's come a ways.
Holy wow.
So
good for him.
So yeah, no, that works out for him.
Yeah, that's awesome. Congratulations. But
yeah, likely more to come on comics? That. Yeah, we're on the comics.
I'm sure there'll be more to come. All right, we're moving on to comics. So my screen went fuzzy a second ago, so I'm just like quitting a couple things so my server don't crash here. We don't have to deal with that again because that's never fun. All right, moving on to comics. No huge comic announcements this week, but we do have some great books that are going to be in your local comic book stores. We got Batman, big Batman week. Batman, regular monthly. Seriously. Batman 122. Batman Beyond the White Knight, book we've been talking about for a while. Number 1 comes out this week. Batman Killing Time, number 2, the new Tom King Batman book. Number 1 was very good. Looking forward to number 2. Black Widow, number 15. Captain Marvel Annual, number 1. Deadpool Bad Blood, number 1. Devil's Reign, number 6. Fantastic Four, number 42. Heavy Metal Drummer, number 3. Ocean Will Take Us, number 1. Radiant Red, number 2. Rocketeer, The Great Race. Gotta love when new Rocketeer books are coming out. Very excited about that. Star Trek Mirror War, number 5. Suicide Squad, number 14. Usher of the Dead, number 2. And X-Men Red, number 1. X-Men Red, a title that was around a while ago, and they're bringing it back, right? Wasn't that like a mini series?
Yeah, they had.
5 years ago or so?
There was a stretch where they broke it up into X-Men Red, Blue, Black, and Gold, and all of them were a different tale, and not like the old team style where it was like, all right, this is a red team, this is. It was a little different take on it, and I'm not exactly sure what they're doing with this one. It might be. I don't think it's of the similar vein. I think it might be more targeted. It looks like Storm and Nightcrawler and Magneto featured, so that should be interesting. Apparently, nice. Cable, yeah. So it's going to be an interesting cast. Al Ewing's writing it, so Stefano Caselli is the penciler.
No slouch.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens there.
Nice. Anything that you have picked up recently or that you're currently reading that's worth mentioning?
Well, actually, like I mentioned, brought my son to the comic book store for the first time ever. Right. This is the cover that he saw and absolutely had to buy. So Star Wars. So this was I don't know if it's a miniseries or just a one-off that they're doing based on the Galactic Star Cruiser. So Halcyon Legacy is the name of the Galactic Star Cruiser. But he saw a Wookiee with a lightsaber and was like, we need to buy that. So that's all I've got new. I went and
Nice.
I apparently I forgot that I had gone the week before and picked up my poll. So I got there on Wednesday. I'm like, anything in the box? No. Oh
okay.
yeah, forgot. I actually got out there, But apparently, pretty soon, we may not have to wait or drive too far to find our comics or pull lists, as it
Yes,
seems like
that's
we
true.
may be having a local shop opening up in our neck of the woods.
Yeah, gotta say I'm very excited about that. New comic book store, very close to where Steve and I live. So yeah, um, I don't know. I can't wait for that. Just
Yeah,
because mine's too far away currently.
I mean, mine's literally
Um,
in North Syracuse, so. Uh,
yeah, yeah, that's a hike. Um, I gotta say, I picked up the new Something Is Killing the Children. I
Hmm.
got the regular cover and a super cool Jenny Frieson variant cover that has a cutout where it's Erica with a mask on, but like it's a half cover. You can open up the mask and see like her face underneath it. Oh my god,
That's
it's so
kind of
cool.
great.
So cool. Um, Also, I feel like I was off of reading. I got behind on reading for so long because of my February songwriting thing
Yep.
that I do. Um, that I have so many issues built up of the same series. I feel like right now, it's great that I can just
You
read
can just
like,
binge. It's like having a trade
yeah,
without having a trade.
yes, exactly. I'm like, ooh, Nightwing 87, 88, 89, 90.
Yep.
Amazing. Great. Yeah, all caught up. And Superman, Son of Kal-El, same thing. Batman 89, same thing. So good. So fun. So I haven't read Something That's Killing Children yet, but I'm very excited about it. And what else did I just get? Oh, I just got I'm very excited. I got a trade paperback of a graphic novel called Adora and the Distance. It was
Hmm.
written by a guy named Mark Bernardin. If anybody listens to the Kevin Smith Fat Man Beyond podcast where he talks about nerd stuff. It's him and this guy, Mark Bernardin, who's a writer. He's written on Star Trek Picard. He's written on, what's that Stephen King show?
Oh,
On
yeah.
Castle Rock on Hulu. Anyway, he's a really good writer. He's a smart guy, and he wrote a graphic novel called Adora and the Distance. He's written comic books before, but this is a personal thing because it's tied in. He has a daughter who has autism, and this is written about a character. I guess I haven't read it yet, so I'm not really sure, but it's written as a tribute to his autistic daughter in some way, about a character that experiences the world in a similar way, or
Nice.
expresses herself in similar ways, something like that.
Yep.
So I've heard great things about it, and I'm very excited to read that. So a plug for Adore and the Distance by Mark Bernard. I would
Oh,
check that out.
I did lie. Because I didn't get them at the shop. I finally got that shipping in with the Many Deaths of Layla Star.
Oh, nice.
So I have the trade of that now, which I still got to get through, and then finally re-picked up a copy of the first trade of Uncanny X-Force, which by Rick Remender,
Oh,
which
yeah.
that still goes down as maybe one of my favorite comic runs of all time. So I'm trying to recollect that because I had the floppies at some point when it came out, and then you know how that goes. Uh,
Yeah.
there's either I don't think they're here anymore because I haven't been able to find them. So I just want a physical copy of those books in some way,
Yeah.
shape, or form.
Yeah, I got to read that. I just picked up also. Speaking of favorite comic book runs of all time, I've been working my way for the last couple of years through Alan Moore's Swamp Thing run. I think I mentioned it
Yep.
to you before, and goddamn, it is incredible. It's incredible. Like it's hard to even talk about. It's horrifying. It's emotional. It's just fucking cool at the
So
same time. It's just, oh man,
weirdly,
it's so
the
great.
first omnibus of that is available on Amazon Kindle Unlimited.
Oh wow.
So I may
Highly recommend.
actually grab that digitally and pick it up.
Yeah, man. I highly recommend it. It's so good. It's just so cool. The art is incredible. The storytelling is amazing. I mean, it's Alan Moore, so like
Yep.
the writing is great. And it has elevated. Swamp Thing has become. He's probably my top 5 comic book characters of all time now. Like,
Because of that
he's
run.
just because
Yep.
of that run. And like he's a cool character anyway. But like that run is like
Right.
really like, yep, this is just incredible.
Nice.
So I'll say that. I thought there was one other comic thing I was gonna talk about. I don't remember. I just got Tom King and Andy Kubert's Superman Up in the Sky. I got the trade of that. A really great Superman run, which was originally written. DC had a deal with Walmart for a while where they were doing exclusive Walmart comic books, and they got like
Weird.
really like, yeah, it is weird, but they got like top tier writers like Brian Michael Bendis did a Batman run, which was awesome, and Superman run with Andy Kubert, great artist, and it is excellent.
Nice.
It's very if you are somebody outside this, if you are someone that doesn't understand people that are like Superman's boring, he's got no weaknesses, whatever, blah blah blah. And that means if you feel that way, it means that you do not fundamentally understand the character of Superman. And if you would like to fundamentally understand the character of Superman, read this book. It does very much for the character of Superman. It speaks to just him being the best of us
Right.
at all times and why, and showcases that. And it's just incredible. So,
I was very much that person until I, became friends with you, and you have changed my ways on it.
You're welcome, Steve. You're welcome. All right. Enough rambling about comics. We're moving into some one-shots, stories that we didn't think we could dive too deep on, but definitely wanted to mention. This one is super cool. I'm very excited about it. Netflix has confirmed that Elliot Page's character from the Umbrella Academy will come out as transgender in season 3. Now, we know that Elliot Page recently, or within the last year or two, came out as transgender.
Yeah.
But initially, it was previously believed that he was going to continue to play the character of Vanya in Umbrella Academy as a cisgender woman. And we even got a promo from season 3 last month, I think, that quickly showed the team and still showed as much, character of Vanya being portrayed as a cisgender woman. Maybe that was shot. That could have been a shot that was left over from season 2. Who knows?
Right.
But that it's not the case. And Paige's character will now go by Victor instead of Vanya. And I just think that's the best idea. Because then you're not forcing Elliot Page to do something that they're uncomfortable doing, and prolonging a character that they don't identify with anymore, or that is hard for them emotionally, to portray. So I think this is great. I think it makes sense. I feel like the character of Vanya was a complex one the first 2 seasons. So I can certainly see this this choice of character being fitting for that character.
Yeah.
So it's not we're not sure like if that's gonna just something that comes out in the show, or it's gonna be addressed as something that happens between seasons or something. But apparently Elliot Page had something to do with developing the storyline for the character, which I think is great. And I think it's great that I feel like Netflix and the show have been very supportive. When Elliot came out as transgender, they re-edited the show to change the name, to update the name to Elliot Page and all the credits, which I think is great. And Netflix themselves are the ones that tweeted out this news and saying that they're very happy to have Victor now being part of the cast.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be curious how, like you said, I'll be curious how it ends up being addressed, or whether it's just off screen, or how they do it. But it's amazing that they're going through it. Like that's great.
Yeah, I agree. I'm very excited about Umbrella Academy coming back because I like that show a lot. I like the books a lot too, and they're both radically different from each other, but I like both of them.
Yeah, I got to catch up on the show. So
great, it's worth it. My wife loves it. Maybe your wife might love it too.
Well, I tried to get my wife to watch Moon Knight. That didn't happen either. So things that I may be able to get my wife to watch. Obi Wan Kenobi's show release date has been pushed 2 days officially to Friday, May 27th. It was originally supposed to be the 25th, which would have been the 45th anniversary of Star Wars: A New Hope. That was awesome, except it was a Wednesday night, and we're assuming, just off of a complete swag, that the Wednesday night slot will be reserved for the debut 2 weeks after that of Miss Marvel, and that Obi-Wan will be a Friday night show. The nice news is that we will get 2 episodes off the bat apparently now, instead of the originally planned 1 episode.
So wait a second. So when does Miss Marvel premiere?
June 8th.
Oh, that's right. Okay. I guess I had it in my head that they were like sort of going to overlap, but they're going to overlap
Yeah,
quite a
there's going to
bit.
be like, well, and in all honesty, that may also be why they're dropping 2 episodes off the bat of Obi Wan as well. Is
Yeah.
2
Get it out of
episodes,
the way.
and then you've only got like 2 weeks or 2 weeks of overlap or 3 weeks of overlap instead of a good chunk of the content overlapping.
Yeah, you're right. All right, that's interesting. Um, well, that's a bummer. We have to wait 2 more days, but it's only 2 more days,
Right.
so it's not that big a deal. But what I like about this is that, say what you want about Solo, I think a lot of the reason that movie did not do well at the box office is that they refused to move it from May because May was like the whatever anniversary of A New Hope.
Yep.
That was like the month that, it's the same Star Wars month or whatever. And it seems like they were learning from their mistakes. They're like, hey,
Right.
this is going to cause a conflict. Let's move it. We don't want to if it's going to be an issue, let's move it. We shouldn't be so tied to a release date, regardless of the anniversary. Like, people are going to celebrate that date no matter what.
Right.
Oh, fine. But I don't know. I'm down for a Friday night show.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not?
Or inevitably,
So-
in my case, Friday morning, because
Yeah, more like Saturday night, probably. We will. That might be a time where we are talking about 2 shows at once at the end of these episodes. So we'll
Yeah.
see how we can do with that. All right. Earlier, I mentioned that we're going to talk about The Flash again. And here we go. Not quite how you want to be talking about The Flash. Flash star Ezra Miller, Barry Allen himself, was arrested at a karaoke bar in Hawaii for disorderly conduct and harassment. Apparently, he was in a bar. He got upset when people started singing karaoke and started yelling at people, eventually lunged at somebody playing darts and grabbed a microphone from a woman that was singing. Days later, it was reported that a couple filed a restraining order against him after he burst into the bedroom of the place that they were staying, yelled at them, and stole some of their belongings. What the hell is Ezra Miller doing to his career? I mean, it's certainly not the first time that he has had a brush with the law. I think he's been arrested for drugs before, and there was a video of him like attacking a fan a couple years ago, and just no one said anything about it. Warner Brothers never they just wanted it to go away, and it did. This seems like it's a bigger deal.
Yeah.
He seems kind of like a loose cannon to me. This
Yeah.
guy.
Like, did he take it too literally and think he could just run away fast enough after he grabbed this stuff, or?
Yeah, I don't know. Is it a thing where he thinks he's got enough power or something that it won't matter? Like, that's not the case, dude.
Yeah, no.
That's not the case.
No.
I feel like I don't know. I mean, it's a pain for Warner Brothers because they have a movie coming out with him starring in it. And
Right.
They don't want to
As the face of it.
As the face of it, exactly. So, I mean, they want to somehow they want this to go away, but I don't know. And they're probably like, "Thank God we pushed that movie." So hopefully people will forget about this by the time it comes out. And please, Ezra, stay inside a locked room for the next year and a half so that your movie can come out and people will love you again and not remember the time that you stole a karaoke mic out of a woman's hand and got arrested. I don't know. I'm a DC guy. I love the Flash, and I like the movie. I'm very excited about the movie, but I feel like if he's going to be a problem, then maybe it's time to replace him.
Yeah, might not be the best fit.
Yeah, maybe Barry Allen disappears in some kind of event, and we get Wally West.
Yep.
Give us the Kid Flash replacement. Who knows?
You had me at anyone named Wally.
Yeah, there you go.
So, in things not named Wally, apparently Bill Skarsgård is now, I don't know if it's official or at least rumored to be starring in the Crow reboot from Rupert Sanders, the son of Stellan Skarsgård, who is in everything under the sun, including Thor.
Yep.
And Bill Skarsgård was actually I think he was the voice of one of the Eternals, if I remember right.
There's
So,
also Pennywise the Clown.
and
the
also
It
in
movie.
Castle Rock, the aforementioned series.
Yeah, he was in that. Oh man, did you
So,
watch that show?
I did not. I've heard I should.
Season 1 was great.
Yeah.
Season 1 was really cool, and season 2 was good too. I got halfway through it and I just fell off watching it. I don't know why I stopped watching it. I liked it though. But season 1 was very good, and he was very good in it. And it was cool that they cast him because like it made you immediately like, is he just going to become Pennywise at some point? Is he
Right.
going to be the clown? Like, why would they cast him? But they did that. Oh, like Sissy Spacek is in it too, and they're like, is this supposed to be a reference to Carrie? Like, why is she in this? But nope.
All Stephen King all the time for all of them, apparently.
Anyway, it was very good. He was very good in it. I can't get excited about this because I feel like they've been trying to make a Crow movie for a really long time, and it just keeps falling through. Like even just a couple years ago, Jason Momoa was cast as the Crow. Do you remember that?
No, I can't see that
Yeah.
at all either.
Yeah, neither can I. It was him and a different director, and they announced it and they made a big deal about it's going to happen this time. And then guess what? It did not happen.
I don't get, like,
So-
anyone that is not Brandon Lee should not be the Crow.
Yeah, and I don't know. I saw that movie a long time ago. I saw it once.
Yep.
It was good. I liked it at the time. I don't know that I would like it now. It just seems like it's all like 90s trench coats and
It was-
grunge rock. It seems
yeah.
like an aesthetic that I don't identify with anymore, but people from that era remember it fondly, so they want a reboot. But I don't know that it's more than that. I don't know that it's more than an aesthetic.
Right.
Really.
And I mean, just going off here as 90s as it gets thing, does it get more 90s than a soundtrack that includes the Jesus and Mary Chain, Rage Against the Machine, Helmet, and The Cure?
And I believe Stone Temple Pilots also.
Yep.
Speaking of 90s.
Nine Inch Nails as well.
Nine Inch Nails, yep.
Yep. Henry Rollins' band.
Yeah, I remember the soundtrack was like a big deal, but
Yeah.
again, it's just like 90s nostalgia, really.
Right.
I don't know that the movie is as good as people think that it is. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know.
I think the
I don't
original
think I'm
was
wrong.
pretty good. I think anything they've tried to do after that was very not good.
Well, yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, I don't know. I feel like if I revisit that original movie, I don't know that I would like it as much as I did when I was younger.
Probably true.
I could be wrong.
Probably true.
I could be wrong.
Well,
All right, so
maybe that's another drunken movie review night.
yeah, maybe.
We're just turning this into a spin-off series.
Dude, that would be great. That'd be great. If anyone wants to sponsor us so we can start devoting more time to drinking beers and recording commentaries for you people, just start sponsoring us, please.
Yeah.
We would love to do that for you.
I think we know somebody that could supply the beer.
Yes. Yeah, we do. We do. For sure. Anyway, that's the end of the normal show for the night. We're about to get into All Right Moon Knight, our new segment where we talk about weekly episodes of Disney Plus's Moon Knight show starring Oscar Isaac. So if you have not seen Moon Knight episode 1, goodbye. I guess
Yep.
if you haven't seen it but you don't care about spoilers, then you can stick around. But why would you? Because we're just going to be talking about it.
Yeah.
Watch and don't understand. But who knows?
That's it, though.
But-
Before you go, make sure to like, subscribe. If you're watching on Twitch, follow us. Let us know what you think. Feedback. We're always checking the stream chat if people are actually watching live. Let us know if you're listening on audio. Like, subscribe, leave a review. Do what you can to, push us forward and help the algorithms out. We're not better than whatever a computer can put together to search for us. So. Otherwise, check out themultiverseport.com and The Multiverse Report on all the socials, Multiverse RPT on Twitter, and if you want to talk about Moon Knight, keep listening. If not, get the hell out of here.
Get the hell out of here. Cool. While you were talking, for some reason, I just signed in to watch us on Twitch. So I'm like talking now, and then I'm watching a delayed version of me say the thing that I started
Also
saying
talk.
5 seconds ago.
That's great.
It's very strange. Anyway, I'm gonna now I can see the thing that I just said a second ago, so I'm going to log out of that because it's confusing and weird. Anyway, all right, Moon Knight. Episode 1 of Moon Knight debuted on Disney Plus. Should I talk, or do you want me to start? Or do you want you start, Steve? What do you think? Of Moon Knight?
Do you talk? Do I? You know, it is Oscar Isaac, so it's only fitting.
Good Oscar Isaac reference, yeah. Who starts? Do I start?
You can start.
I thought it was great.
Okay.
What did you think?
I also thought it was great. There's definitely some nits to pick.
Yes.
But overall, I thought they nailed it. I thought they nailed they kept it close enough to source material, but also made it accessible, is what I'm kind of thinking, if that makes any sense. Yes, there'll be the comics purists that are like, well, Stephen Grant was supposed to be the billionaire philanthropist playboy Tony Stark.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah.
I don't know that.
In comics, he's the Batman. He's the Bruce Wayne.
Okay.
In this, he definitively is not the Bruce Wayne.
Very not Bruce Wayne.
But I thought they did a very good job of setting up a series where we, from the bat, know something is off, and then slowly start to kind of peel the onion and see exactly what is going on.
Yes, I really liked, and I don't know the source material as much as you do. I know bits and pieces about the character. That's about it. So I really liked that we didn't know what was going on, and he didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
So we are discovering it as he's discovering it. I feel like we don't normally get that. I guess that's something I liked about the Batman, where I said, like, you're on the journey with Batman the whole time. You don't know what he doesn't know. Similar to this, it gets you invested in the character quite a bit, because you're both looking for the same answers. So when he finds something in his apartment, you are equally as invested in, he finds that key or whatever in his apartment, you're equally as invested in what that is and what it means as he is. I like that aspect of it a lot. I really liked that it was not directly tied to any other MCU thing at all. This is like ground level character building. The MCU has become a lot of the MCU, like you mentioned Multiverse of Madness earlier, Doctor Strange's Multiverse of Madness. That feels like a movie that is contingent on you knowing so much else about the Marvel Universe, and depends on you knowing so much about it to care about it, to understand the gravity of it. And those of us that do will love it, and those of us that don't might be like, it was okay, I didn't really understand it. And that's a problem that I think that's a problem that the MCU has going forward. Like, they've gotten this high, and to me, they're kind of plateauing a little bit as far as like how they're bringing in new people.
Right.
And we've talked about this before. Like, is this going to be a problem for them going on? Like, how to attract new people that don't feel like watching 25 movies to understand what's going on? This is a show, at least from episode 1, this is a show you could watch without having seen any other show, any other movie, and just enjoy it, which is great, which I don't think is the case for any of the other Disney Plus shows. Certainly not WandaVision.
No.
Certainly not WandaVision. Certainly not Captain America Winter Soldier or Falcon Winter Soldier. Definitely not Loki.
Right.
And maybe Hawkeye, because it's so closely on Kate Bishop.
Right. It's closely on Kate, and it's tight and contained.
Yes.
So to a degree, but there's a lot of references.
They still make a lot of Avengers references, a lot of Black Widow references, and things that
Right, like think about it. In that,
references.
You're one of the big moments in it, him standing in front of the plaque. Does that hit if you don't see any, or if you've never seen an Avengers movie? No way.
No, because so much of it is about like his love for Natasha.
Yep.
And the sisters, Yelena's love for Natasha.
Yep.
And if you don't know who Natasha is, then you do not care.
Yep.
Or you don't know. Like, sometimes I feel like the MCU is getting like lazy kind of, and like knowing that we know that, so they don't have to do like the job of setting everything up. for new viewers.
Yeah.
So like they're banking on the fact that we know these things. So it was refreshing to see Moon Knight in a way that's like, oh, they're telling us everything. We don't have to bring anything to this. Like it's not you can enjoy the show without having done your homework.
Yeah.
You know? So that was like very a breath of fresh air to me. The other thing I need to say, I feel like I don't know that this show would be as good. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm talking about we've only seen one episode.
Right.
But it really seems like it would not have worked if Oscar Isaac wasn't a tremendous actor.
Yes.
I
100%.
think a lot of it is contingent on him being really, really committed and really, really great at what he's doing. In the hands of a lesser actor, this would have been like cheesy, funny, and like there are funny parts, but like that accent that he's doing is wild. It's very, I mean, he's very good at it, but it's like a choice, you know, for sure. And I didn't realize the importance of that choice until we see Mark Spector or start hearing him like, oh, then
just
the
a
other
dude from
personality,
Chicago.
the other personality is going to have a different voice. And that's why Stephen Grant's accent makes so much sense and is so important, that it has a jarring, different everything about it.
Now, the insanity of that, I've read online or discerned online, whether or not it was a conscious choice. Apparently, that accent, the British accent that he puts on for Grant, is very much a like a stereotypical what a American would come up with for a full blown British accent.
Oh, really?
Or English accent, like London accent.
Okay.
And like I saw a thread somewhere on that, like people from England that were like, yeah, that there are people that sound like that, but that's like the over the top stereotypical. Like it's the accent that would be brought forth by someone who was an American that was trying to do a
British accent.
Yeah. So.
Well, that's cool.
That's it's like, is that intentional, or is that just what he came up with? Or, but either way, you know, Oscar Isaac, you watch that mirror scene at the end, and body language and everything else is just completely different, and he's literally acting against himself. And how you do that, I do not know.
Yeah, that was great. That scene at the end of the bathroom was tremendous. Yeah, I don't know. It was really great. I really liked Ethan Hawke also, while we're talking about actors and actresses that we liked. I want to know more about his character, because it seems like if you lead a cult or whatever he is doing, is the whole point of the cult to judge people and maybe you die? Like, it seems like there's got to be more to it than that. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah,
but maybe just people are fascinated to learn whether or not they're actually a good person. Like, I guess that could be enough. But it seems like there has to be some other like benefit to being a part of that cult other than maybe dying someday.
You get some killer sandals.
Yeah, literally killer sandals.
Talk about disconcerting opening scenes.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That set a tone.
Oh, it did, and I was actually uncomfortable. Like watching that, I'm rough. Like, I think subconsciously, like my toes were flexing. I'm just like, oh God, don't do that. Don't do. Oh, he did it.
Yeah, that was tough, man. That was tough.
But speaking of that, you talk about Oscar Isaac and his acting. That dinner scene, the lack of dinner scene.
Yes, when he was at the restaurant. Yeah.
The emotion in that, like. I was literally sitting here watching it and just like feeling dejected for him.
Yeah.
Like what he was mentally going through. It was just like incredible.
Yeah. He was great. He was just great all around. It was like the scenes of him like shorting out, you know, right before he like passes out.
Right.
Like even that was great, you know, and that's, you know, that's what I mean. Like in the hands of a lesser actor, it could have seemed funny or silly the way that they were passing out. I liked there was a bit of brutality to it. Yeah. In a way that we haven't seen in a lot, like the way he's like just pummeling that monster at the end. Not a werewolf, which we thought was going to be a werewolf. We thought it was retroactively Werewolf by Night, but nope, just an Egyptian dog monster. But like he wakes up in the truck and he's got a gun and there's just a dead guy with a cupcake smashed on his face that falls out of the truck. I was like, that's pretty dark for the MCU. Like, that's cool. Like,
well, and then I mean, even when he wakes up in the Alps and his whole face is just disfigured, cracks his own jaw back into place.
Yeah,
and then the first scene where Mark snaps in and shows up, and he snaps back to Steven, and his hands are just bloody as all get out, and just like, oh, something big happened.
Yeah, I know, it's true. You don't see that much blood in the MCU because it's PG-13 all the time. So, I mean, this clearly wasn't Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Punisher level of brutality, but it was a step in that direction, which I liked quite a bit. I remember seeing that they were, I think I read, or we talked about an article about the thing, Moon Knight was going to be more brutal.
I think Feige actually came out and said that.
Yeah. And for the MCU so far, based on one episode, that is true. We'll have to see how far they go. Right before I got online to do this podcast with you, I heard somebody say that they saw somebody theorize, so like, it's removed information, that the town that he wakes up in the Swiss Alps or whatever is actually Latveria, or the country is actually Latveria, Doctor Doom's country. I didn't really see any. I thought that was interesting, so I'm bringing it up. I didn't really see anything that indicated that. To it, at the very least, to me, that seems like something that's like, oh, like Marvel can be like, oh yeah, it was Latveria the whole time, But like, if it works out later, then they can say that it was, and if not, it's not. But like, I didn't really see anything. It didn't really look like how I picture Latveria. I picture Latveria more like bleak, less
less Sound of Music-y.
Flowers and less Sound of Music-y, more Transylvania-y.
Yeah, I could see that.
But that's just me. I could be wrong. So
I am curious who Layla is.
Good. Yeah,
because
me too.
The only Layla I know from Marvel is Layla Miller from House of M.
I don't know if I know.
She was the girl, the little girl.
Oh, okay.
And she ultimately, like a couple books down the road and whatever, she grows up and she's a normal human mutant, whatever. But like, that's the only Layla I can even think of, and I can't imagine that being her. So I'm curious what they're doing there.
I thought that it could be like a sister or something, like a family.
Well, like in the books, Marlene is always his, love interest / whatever.
Yeah.
So
that's why I thought that it was more of a sisterly thing.
Yeah.
Someone that clearly cares about him, and he keeps leaving voicemails for his mom, but his mom's not actually there. So like, what's going on?
Yeah, it's one of those where I think, like, I was thinking about that after, and it's like, that's definitely a phone number that that Spectre like left around so that Grant would, like, when the Grant persona is out, that he's like, oh, I'll call mom.
Yeah.
It's a really weird something going on there.
Yeah. But like, there's an answering machine. He's leaving a message. So it's set up somehow. It's not like a disconnected number. So it's a number that works. Like, who is he calling? Who is he actually calling?
Yeah.
I feel like that's interesting to me. Because, like, if he just made up the persona of Stephen Grant, like you said, like, someone else must have set up this number.
Right.
Anyway, it's interesting. A little behind the scenes that I told you I read right before this podcast also about Moon Knight. Oscar Isaac has only signed for this 6-episode miniseries, has not signed a larger contract to appear as Moon Knight in any other Marvel or MCU property other than this miniseries. So it's possible that we're only going to get Moon Knight in this miniseries and we will not see him in a future Marvel movie. What do you think of that?
I mean, I would have expected him at least in Werewolf by Night.
Yeah.
But
me too. I think we both expected him in Werewolf by Night, but
That seems
maybe
odd.
not. Yeah, it seems odd that they wouldn't get him for at least one movie. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, just a
Like,
cameo somewhere even or something.
Yeah, because like we don't know what the next big team up movie is going to be, which I like because they're taking their time to build back up to like a big team up movie, which is great. So I mean that gives them time to re-sign Oscar Isaac.
Right.
But this is a guy that I saw in at least one interview be very open about how he is done with Star Wars. He has no interest in going back to a franchise.
Yep.
So I was kind of surprised when he was cast as Moon Knight because of that interview that I saw where he was like, I don't want a Disney Plus show. I don't want a Star Wars Disney Plus show. I don't want to do sequels. Like, I'm done. I'm cashing in my chips and I'm done is the line I think I heard him say. I'm cashing in my chips.
Well, and it may be, you see the script and the character you're playing and
sure.
characters you're playing, and it's like, well, okay, maybe this is an intriguing whatever. And Feige in the past has said that they don't want to, they're not wrapping these guys up long term anymore.
That's true. We talked about that.
Yeah.
We also talked about how Oscar Isaac said that playing Moon Knight was one of the biggest acting challenge of his career, which even from the first episode I can tell is I can see how that is accurate.
Oh yeah. And that's without them even bringing Lockley in, because in the comics there's 3 personalities.
Yeah. Well, we might get there. We got 6 episodes.
It's true.
So yeah, I guess it remains to be seen whether we see Moon Knight in anything else other than Moon Knight. But honestly, if we don't, I'm kind of excited about that. Like, it's kind of cool that they're giving us just a thing that exists as a thing that isn't connected to, that is part of the MCU by nature.
Yep.
But isn't an integral necessarily. It's just like a thing you can just watch and it's just great. You know what I mean? It's not gonna tease another thing, or you don't have to watch another thing. Like,
right, like this is happening in the Natural History Museum in London. Well, everything else is going down, but who knows? Like, it's just completely independent.
Yeah, I say that I think it's cool. I need to also say that I would, based on this one episode, I would love to see Moon Knight somehow interact with Spider-Man or whatever. Like, that would be cool.
Spidey's usually that's where you're gonna end up seeing him as something. It's weird because he has supernatural powers, but he always ends up being street level, or usually ends up being street level. So it's a weird dichotomy.
Yeah, it's like a weird mix of the two extremes, but I don't know. I mean, I would love to see him in Avengers just because I like the initial excitement of those team up movies is seeing characters interact that have never interacted before, like the Guardians of the Galaxy when they meet Tony Stark and Doctor Strange and Spider-Man on that ship or whatever in Infinity War. Like, that's awesome. Like, that's the coolness. But when it becomes just that is when I'm just like, okay, all right, give me some like actual character development here. Yeah. So if this story is just character development from Moon Knight, Oscar Isaac, and that's all we get, then fine. But yeah, I'd like to see him fight Deadpool or whatever, 2 years from now.
It'd be great.
Cool. Anyway, that's all I got for Moon Knight episode 1. Do you have anything else for All Right Moon Knight?
No, I think it's a solid wrap.
All right. Well, that's all we got. Like Steve said earlier, if you like this, please physically like it on the podcast app that you are listening to it on. Like us on YouTube. You can like us on Twitch. Follow us on all those things. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all these things. And we record every Sunday night. Have we done a year yet? Has it been a year yet? When's our anniversary?
May something. Yeah.
May something.
Early
May.
May.
To a year. Getting close to a year. We haven't skipped a week.
Insanity.
Have we skipped a week? I don't think we've skipped a week.
We pushed a couple of weeks, but I don't think we've
pushed
skipped
it a day or two. I don't think we've skipped. That's insane. Insane.
That it is.
So anyway, like us and tell all your friends about us. And until next time, we'll see you in the multiverse.